everybody? Larry here. Welcome back. It's Speedy Black, back in California. I'm back with my car, and I wanted to get into another video today. All right, so I was thinking I need to talk about the Ford S650 Mustang situation. If you're not aware of what that situation is, it's the fact that the sales for the Mustang from the previous year, 2024, were at an all-time low compared to even just the last, let's say, 10 years of Mustang sales. Let me get to this. About a year ago, maybe a year plus, I made a video literally predicting that they would be in this situation. I said the Mustang S650, I think the term I used was flop. I said that car is gonna flop. And what happened? What happened? It flopped. If you look at the numbers, you're gonna see it sold almost 40,000 units. I think people are crediting it with 40,000, but the site I was using said it was like 39, 38, 37, something like that. Ford, the S650 is not a beautiful car. It's a nice car, it's not a beautiful car. When I look at it, I don't say, God damn, I need to have one of those. I look at it and say, oh, okay, that's the new Mustang. Now here's the problem. I think the car mechanically is, you know, it's sound, it's stout, it's got a lot of horsepower compared to the previous generations. It's a Mustang, so you know there's a ton of modability, at least mechanically speaking. You can't get into ECU stuff yet, everybody knows that, and that's also a big problem. On top of that, you got a roughly $55,000 to $66,000 price tag for your Mustang GT. Let me say that again. You've got a $55,000 to about $63,000 price tag on your Mustang GT. Now, I don't want to hear shit about inflation. I don't want to hear shit about dealership markup or any of that stuff, because every car is dealing with the same kind of market right now. Every auto manufacturer is dealing with the current climate. Every single car, every sports coupe, every SUV, every electric, every whatever car is trying to sell right now. I take all of that off the board. Whenever someone talks about the market, I was like, your competitors are in the same market. Here's the thing, let me get into the details. It's actually not all Ford's fault. Now this is where I'm gonna get some flack. It's actually not all Ford's fault. Yes, I do think that the car is too expensive. I also think that it doesn't look good, it's ugly as shit, and I think they could have done so much better. But if you look at the numbers for the Charger, if you look at the numbers for, well, I can't say the Camaro, but if I'm gonna put up more cars that have also sold in 2024, and you're gonna see the same issues. Everybody who sells cars that are really meant for two people is hurting right now, and that is the bigger issue. It's not specifically that just Ford can't sell the Mustang, it's also that people just aren't buying these cars right now. But you know what cars are going up? SUVs, crossovers, things that allow families to get multiple people and lots of stuff from point A to point B. All of that stuff is selling right now, and the people who buy what we like, who buy Mustangs, who buy Chargers, who buy Challengers, who buy all that shit, year after year, every single one of the manufacturers who produce those types of models is losing. Every single year, one of those models has sold less vehicles last year than it did this year. So that's why I even brought up that point that you have to look at the market, and I can't just blame Ford. I don't think Ford put their best foot forward. I will say that. I don't think they put their best foot forward with this design, but I also can't ignore the fact that the market is down across the board. So to say Ford flopped, it's still fair because it did, in my opinion, but I'm not going to act like it's only Ford's fault. I have to acknowledge the fact that as a society who buys vehicles, we seem to be moving away from sports cars, muscle cars, and things like that. And it's not necessarily that people are less interested in that. It's not necessarily that, like, I think it's dying or it's dead and like we're the last generation of people who want to buy cars. That's not it at all. I'm just aware of the fact that our economy is real messed up right now. A lot of people can't afford to buy a vehicle that is mainly for pleasure purposes. Or I don't want to say mainly, but predominantly. Like if I'm buying a Mustang versus another car, why is that? The sedan will get me to and from just like the Mustang will. It'll probably store more stuff. It probably holds my friends and myself. Like I could probably put one in here, but you know, a sedan could hold 4, 5, 6 even. So you really have to, well, maybe not 6, but you get what I'm saying. So you ask yourself, why am I buying vehicle A versus vehicle B? And that's why I say it's predominantly because of the fun. I enjoy the driving experience. I love to drive. I love to rip it. I love to mess around on the highway and the streets and stuff and hear the exhaust sing to me. All that stuff is important. I'm at a stoplight, so now's a good time to refresh. Okay, all that stuff is important. So why do I buy the Mustang versus the sedan? Because things like look, like sound, like the driving experience are more important than the practicality, right? That's why I make this purchase. I love the Mustang, but we're just kind of in a situation now where that's changing. No disrespect will be tolerated on this channel. The people who buy for sex appeal, for fun versus practicality, just as a society, we're doing that. And that is the final point that I needed to make, is it's not all Ford's fault, because the market is shifting. The market has different needs because the economy is different. Now, Ford could fight back. Like, I bet you, hear me out. If the Mustang GT, now this is a hypothetical, this is not true, and I don't want to hear anyone say, well, they can't afford to do that. Just follow me for the example. If Ford sold the new Mustang GT for, let's just say, $25,000, everything that it is right now, if it's sold for $25,000, they probably would have sold 80 to 90,000 units. Now, granted, the economics don't necessarily make sense in today's market or climate, or with the supply chain issues. I don't want to hear any of that shit. I just want to make the point. $60,000 in a market where people are wondering, do they even need this versus like real life shit? That is not a competitive offer. That is somebody who is out of touch with the situation at hand, I'll say. So if you're offering a Mustang GT, not even like the higher premium version vehicles, because you know you have Mach 1s, you have Bullets, you have fucking GT350s, GT500s, Super Snakes, Cobra, all kind of whatever name brand higher than Mustang GT models that Ford offers. Well, Ford and partners, let's just say. The bottom floor for like a good performance vehicle is $60-something thousand in today's economy, when people can barely afford their rent. So now they're like shacking up. You got families living in small apartments just to make sure everyone has a place to sleep. Like, America ain't America like it used to be. We're struggling. Our country is struggling, right? Like, people don't have money like that. Ford, if you want to do it right, here's what you got to do. You got to go back to the drawing board, and you got to look at your consumer base. Ford, your Mustang is still your flagship vehicle in regards to like fun and performance and sports, because it's attainable. The Mustang series, anybody, if they really wanted to, could get a Mustang. That's why I love it. The Ford GT is not attainable, and you can't lose that. That's the problem. I think a lot of manufacturers maybe got high off of those COVID prices, and dealership markup just went through the roof, and the combination of those two things really hurt the car buying economy, I have to say. So, like, my car is 2016. I'm holding on to this car until I get every last drop of fun out of it. But, like, I would have normally upgraded by now. Anyway, long story short, Ford, the Mustang is your flagship vehicle for fun and for performance, because everyone can get to it. But if you price it out of what the economy can afford, if you price it out of what the consumer is actually interested in spending, where the money now becomes decision money. Like, previously you could say, oh, you know, $30,000 Mustang, I can afford those monthly payments and not change my lifestyle. You're now basically selling to that same customer two cars. They're basically buying two cars because their car payment is almost double and then some. All right, it feels like now's a good time to wrap up the video. So let me summarize all my points. One, the Mustang GT, or the Mustang S650 is ugly. It's still ugly. Every time I've seen it, it's ugly. I think the performance and mechanics are cool. I actually like the interior electronics. I know that's polarizing, but for me, it's cool. I like the modern shit. But I promise you, I have not seen one that has been attractive. I have not seen a single one that has made me say, God damn, I gotta have it. Two, it's too expensive. Your consumers that would normally just jump right in now are conscious about spending that kind of money. And it's in a market that's declining. So how are you going to offer something more expensive, less sexy, in a market that's declining and expect to do well? So yes, Ford, the S650 thus far, when I said it flopped, it flopped. So at least my prediction came right for year one. Now, speaking to anyone at Ford, any car designers, any economists, or any people who just follow consumer trends, specifically in performance vehicles, it's not over for the S650, right? Everything I said about it that I don't like could be fixed. You can literally lift the entire body off the car, keep the chassis, keep the drivetrain, keep the engine, keep the interior electronics, keep all of that shit, and just make something that actually looks a little bit more appealing, and you've got a shot at coming back. Now, granted, you're gonna have to invest more money to do that, but that's not off the table if you wanna save the next 7 years of production for this vehicle. And I'm not talking just, oh, just change the bumper because they don't like the bumper. Like, nah, bitch, like put that shit in the clay again, have some new artists or some AI help you do some like new renders and come up with something that's a little bit more exciting. The hard part is, I don't know what you're gonna do about the price. At this point, I don't know what you're gonna do about the price, especially if you make the price go up again. Anyway, good luck. If I end up getting blessed with an S650, maybe for channel content, because I know how the YouTube game works. I know how the car game works if you want to do this kind of stuff. So don't think that that's not on my mind as a business move, but it definitely won't be because I love it. If it was because I love it, I would get a C6 Corvette Z06 and just beast the hell out of that. So anyway, guys, Ford, I still rock with you. I need you to hear this. I'm like a person who has a drunk uncle, and I want my uncle to not be drunk anymore because he's messing up the family gatherings. That doesn't mean I don't love my uncle. That doesn't mean if someone else calls my uncle drunk, I'm not gonna fight to the death to defend his honor. Anyway, I'm Larry. Thank you for watching Speedy Blaxx. This is another car video. I'm excited again to be doing more car content. That's all I'm gonna be doing now. For anyone who found my channel before it was mainly car stuff, thanks for riding with me. But if you find my channel now, this is what I'm gonna be doing, car shit. I got a Mustang GT performance pack that I've been building for a couple years, and I'm almost at the last step. I can't wait to unveil that for you guys. So yeah, please stay tuned, pay attention, and we're gonna keep rolling.